I could draw. And I was also doing a lot of writing, text stories, and I think it was a good time to be doing that when a lot of graphic novels. I mean, the comic tradition is very long, but for me, the crucial point was that I think there were a couple of breakthrough international graphic novels like Art Spiegelman's Mouse and Martian Satrapi. I think they really changed the vocabulary of comics in a way, or at least they made it accessible to someone like me, who I didn't particularly identify with a lot of the comics that were available to me in growing up here. For instance, like the Machitra Katha or the Tinkles, all of that. I mean, I read it, but I did not find them very compelling as a form. But it was only as an adult, reading these very, very different takes on graphic novels, and the form as we see it today, and especially to see some very powerful non-fiction subjects being taken on. I think that was really one of the things that inspired me to try my hand at the medium. Do we really look at books in our bookshelf according to nation and ethnicity and I don't think so. You reach out to stories. I mean, that's the whole power of stories, that you reach out to a book that touches you in some ways, and often you're sitting somewhere in Assam and you're reading all this really lovely Russian literature in translation, and then that's what inspires you. So I think this whole question of what Indian graphic novel or comic inspired me, I think, yes, it is an interesting one, but as far as in my case, I never really looked at it in that perspective. And I think, yes, so there are lots of traditions elsewhere that I find. I mean, I like whatever little bit of Japanese comics. I like certain forms of. They have this very literary genre, and of course, I've read only a couple of them in translation, and I took translation French. So some of that was very inspiring, and I still enjoy. I enjoyed reading a lot of graphic novels, and I think I was lucky at a point that people internationally were experimenting and they were becoming accessible to us. I think what is happening is that, other than mainstream publishing, we do need more avenues of being able to put all that work out. And I may be wrong in that, but I suspect that is crucially, like our websites. I mean, I think it's not a very visual culture friendly space at the moment, whether it's a very traditional journalism website. So, I mean, you just don't see enough visual material, which is also something that, we're feeling with our current book. So we've done a book called Centerpiece, and we don't have graphic novel narratives, but we have a whole lot of art and writing and photographs. And I can imagine this will be a book that will be very, very difficult to categorize, And we've been able to give space to a whole lot of work that I think is sometimes sometimes a little difficult to accommodate in all these traditional news portals and everything, especially visual material. And graphic novels too, I think, will fall into that kind of trap, just not having enough avenues to publish or to reach out. Of course it is, it is unique in its many terms because there are certain things that you do better with a graphic novel. So I think the literary landscape or the art landscape will be much richer for graphic novels because I think they do tell a unique story in terms of form, and I think there is the potential for really doing explosive, very socially committed and political graphic novels. Now, whether it's happening and whether we've been able to create that kind of a space for it is another question. One thing I could tell my younger self or something was, of course, yes, of course, what works best is lots of practice, and to not wait for that big chance, and to start doing your stories, and to also look at, and especially if you're starting off, if you're working within, you're a school student or you're a college student, then to definitely try out all different mediums of putting the book across, definitely the photocopy medium, photocopy your stuff out, give it out to your friends, give it out to people around, check how that works, So definitely do your work. Don't wait for that big publishing deal. Start your work so the work that you've begun with, like the last pages of your notebook in the chemistry class. So you make sure you finish that. Give it a good shape. Treat your work with respect. I have an interesting book that is that I've just been able to work on, which is called Centerpiece. So I have it right here. So I want to show it to you. So it's called Centerpiece, and it's called New Writing and Art from Northeast India. And so I'm going to use it to plug the book, which unfortunately does not have any graphic narratives, but it does have a lot of poetry, a lot of great essays, a lot of photographs, and I think also looks at the visual, looks at arrangement of all of this, looks at visual narrative, and all of which of course is crucial to one's understanding of the graphic novel. So I think it is not a graphic novel book, but it does some of the things there. And unfortunately my next book is prose. So well,